Liz, you look like you are ready to sign some paperwork today.
Yeah, photographer today at a
Nice.
property.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Okay, good morning, you guys. Who got inspired from yesterday's video and quote, took a jump, right? Did anyone do anything that was a little unusual for you? Did you take a risk or a chance that you've not done before, you've not done a lot of? Anyone want to share? No one wants to share? We have somebody new on the call today. Her name is Jeannie. Jeannie Hunt. She is brand new to the real estate business and brand new to KW, and of course, brand new to productivity coaching. So welcome.
Morning.
We want to give you the impression today that we actually are interactive. So somebody tell me something cool that happened yesterday in your world.
Well, Bill, it didn't happen yesterday, but I would like to share. My property that I have listed is a tear down and rebuild, and it will go live on Thursday. Tuesday, I got an offer. The seller and I rejected that offer. We negotiated. I asked her what she would take for the house without it going to market. For the property, should I say, without it going to market. She came up with a number. I negotiated and got her 10 grand over what she said. And feel very firm. It's going to close. We're going to close April 15th. Wow. Meanwhile, she's absolutely elated. She had no idea what her property was worth. This is the person that I marketed to for 10 months, y'all, 10 months. And it finally has paid off. Meanwhile, having my sign out there has drawn some attention. So I have two buyers from that sign being out there. So people calling
two buyers. You told me you had one buyer.
I got another one yesterday. Yes. Good so grief. Honestly, y'all, sellers are the way to go. I know it's hard to get that business right now, but once you put your sign out in the yard, it draws a lot of attention. People call and they ask what the price is, and then you kind of go into the conversation. Are you represented? What are you actually looking for? Let me talk about the market, what the market looks like right now, and how important it is to actually have a real estate agent, because houses, as soon as they hit the market, they're sold. But we actually have access to coming soon, so we can be on point when the house comes on the market. So that's how I got the two. Also walking it, this is my neighborhood, and I walk it every day, a couple times a day, talk to all the neighbors. I'm very social, and talk to them about when you're going to sell your house. When are you ready? So another realtor came up here this weekend and was driving through, not walking, but driving through and stopping and talking to people. And my neighbor told me, I had no idea she was up here. My neighbor told me, he said, she stopped and said, when are you going to sell your house? And he said, well, I don't know that I'm in the market right now, but when I am, Mary up the street will definitely get my business. He said, and he's very funny. He's very witty. He said, because if not, she will bring her big dogs up here after me. He said, but Mary definitely has my business. So, but honestly, y'all, getting a seller and getting your sign out there, it opens up the world for you. It's brings you in some buyers. So, knock on doors, do whatever it takes to get those sellers.
I love that story so much. There's a couple of little facts you left out, which make it even better. Well, first of all, let me start by saying this. There is virtually no reason why a seller should sell their home off market right now. Okay. The only exception to that is if you are convinced you are getting more money than you would on the open market.
Right.
Which is a tough assumption most of the time, right? Because if I'm going to sell, let's say, Mary, let's say I've got a guitar that I want to sell. Okay. And maybe the market is super, super hot. It's a very rare guitar, and I don't know what I could get for it. Right. I know roughly what I could get. Let's say I could get $1,000 for it. But it's so rare that if I put it on the open market, somebody might give me $2,000 for it. Right. So when Mary said that price, they came to a price after obviously analyzing the data and whatnot. And that was the price that the original offer came in on, because it wasn't, quote, it was good, but it wasn't good enough to hide it from the rest of the 8 billion people in the world. So they settled on another number. And then Mary played, her cards very, very well to say, hey, I'm not going to sell it to you for this number off market. So I need a number from you guys that's going to cause me to not put it on the open market. Otherwise, I'll just put it on the open market and you can fight with whoever else wants it. So go ahead and send over that number and we'll do business. Otherwise, I'll see you in a week. Right?
Right.
And when we have 2 weeks of inventory, right, and you got the listing, you can behave that way. But remember, you're only as powerful of a negotiator as your next best option, right? That particular builder has done a lot of building in that particular area, and it's in their best interest to have more market share. So it was a win-win for everybody. They have a unique interest in that particular property. So they were probably willing to pay more. I don't want to say more than they should, but more than the average Joe who doesn't really care so much about whether the home is located on that particular plot of land. Does that make sense?
Yes. And Bill, I actually negotiated really well. He told me that they'd never give that much for a piece of property. And also I broke the glass ceiling and now hold the record currently as the highest sale for a tear down.
Well, you've established the new marketplace. You can let them know casually with a smile once everything is signed in a couple of weeks and say, hey, you actually got a really good deal, because I don't think you want me to say the price, and I won't, but you say, hey, X, I don't think anyone will ever be able to pay lower than that because the prices are going up from here, my friend. Congratulations.
Right. And then I have my seller, I have her as a buyer on the other end. Yeah. And so she's going to walk away with a really nice chunk of change, and she's going to be able to buy a house for cash and furnish the house with all brand new stuff. So she's an extremely happy seller.
And I won't give the numbers, but according to what I remember you saying and us talking about this, it's roughly $260,000 difference between what she thought it was worth and what she will end up getting.
Correct. Yes. She
Guys,
is super elated, and she has she's super happy, and she has a very large, been in Alpharetta her entire life, very large social active life, and is like telling everybody. So I expect to get a lot of referrals from this seller because she is so super happy.
Yeah, so maybe when she buys her new property, you can do like a little wine and cheese, like, kind of housewarming, kind of, invite your friends over, and I'll get a chance to meet a lot of the people that you have influence with.
Yes, we actually already talked about a housewarming the other day, and she said, you have to come to my housewarming. I'm like, definitely there. I'm there, so.
No, come.
Yes.
I'm going to host it.
Host it. Yes, definitely.
Yep. Come, I'm just going to come and eat cheese and drink. Host it. I'm going to be the queen of the room. Right? Great job, Mary. Yes. That is so awesome. And guys, I want you to understand, when you, let's say we fast forward 10 years, Mary will be laughing at the fact that she just said, you guys, I worked that lead for 10 months, right? Because there are some leads you will work for 10 years, okay? You just got to have the faith. If you're doing the right thing by people, there will come a time where they need your help, or they know somebody else who needs your help, and you just got to stay, in the game, number one, and you got to keep nurturing that lead. I didn't do it intentionally, but a couple of months we started talking about the phrase pipeline, right? The more commonly used term for that is nurture, right? I added 2 nurtures to my I added 2 nurtures to my database today, or I got 3 nurtures from my calls today. That's essentially the same thing as a pipeline. And in hindsight, I should have called it nurture because it reminds you what you got to do with it. Know what I mean? Great job. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you. Man, once they see that you got that deal for or that guy got the deal for what he got it for, maybe you'll get maybe you can start getting involved in his development stuff. The builders.
Actually, Bill, he called me the day after we made the deal. He called me yesterday morning early. And he said, I need you to scout out more property for me.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so, yeah, so I'm in with a builder. Yeah.
And you know why? It's because you did business the right way, right? You represented your client really, really strongly. And he was testing you to some degree, right? He pushed back a little bit, but he was the one without power and you were the one with power. And so as long as you do what you're supposed to do, you win. And he probably looked at that and he said, now that's a great negotiator there, right? That's somebody who is really, really serious about protecting their client. Gosh, and I got to tell you, my agent never did that. My agent's never held firm like that. My agent's never spoken with downswings and pauses and all the other things we're learning, right? Man, great job. Great, great job. Okay, let's watch a little motivation.
There are only two animals on the planet that the Creator identified himself with. The first one is the eagle. The eagle. And the second animal is the lion. And when I identified those two animals as his favorite to identify himself with, I recognized I better study these two animals, because if he is the leader of the universe and I want to be a leader on earth, I better find out the nature of these animals and also the attitude of these animals. And I discovered that both of them are the kings of their domain. The eagle is the king of the bird kingdom, and the lion is the king of the animal kingdom. But let's talk a little bit about the lion. The lion has what I call the spirit of leadership. And this word spirit here is referring to attitude. Everybody say attitude. A leader has an attitude that makes him or her different from followers. Now, the lion is the king of the jungle, but the lion to me is a great source of encouragement to all of us. I want you to write this down. Remember this as long as you live. Number one, the lion is not the tallest animal in the jungle. Number two, the lion is not the largest animal in the jungle. Number three, the lion is not the heaviest animal in the jungle. Number four, the lion is not the smartest animal or the most intelligent animal in the jungle. And yet, when he shows up, they all run away. Well, here's one of my favorite quotes that I put in my books, and I believe it really brings home the point. An army of sheep led by a lion will always defeat an army of lions led by a sheep. And the answers to that dilemma is this: because leadership can transform cowards into violent warriors. The right kind of leadership can transform a timid into bold people who are fearless. Leadership is that powerful. Leadership can walk into a camp of depressed people, and in 20 minutes, they are turned on into unbelievable, powerful armies. Because leadership determines everything. The lion is the king of the jungle because of one word: attitude. Everybody say attitude. Write it down. Attitude. The lion has a different attitude that makes every animal afraid of him. Now, we don't want to lead by fear, but it does take respect for you to become a leader. When I use the word fear in the jungle, we're talking about respect. The elephant respects the lion. The hyenas respect the lion. The giraffes, they respect the lion. What makes these massive animals respect such a small cat? The attitude is the difference. For example, a lion will see an elephant, and the thing that comes to his mind, one word: lunch. I could eat this thing. and he acts the way he thinks. Now, here's another amazing mystery. The elephant is larger, bigger, stronger, more powerful, heavier, and more intelligent. And yet, when the elephant sees the lion, one word comes to mind: eater. Attitude is a product of belief. You cannot have an attitude beyond your belief. So your attitude comes from your belief system. The lion is the king because of what he believes about himself.
Okay, who has a thought on that video? Again, Candace, thank you for organizing that. Who has a thought on that video? Come on, guys. Who's got a thought?
Oh, go ahead.
Greta, you go first.
It just resonates with me about how attitude and belief are so connected and tied together. And when you've been in a situation where you are taught to believe that you are less than, it reflects, it kind of manifests and reflects in the attitude that you project. And when you start to realize that that's not true, and you start to believe in yourself, then you can reflect that and other people will believe it too.
That's really complex. Thank you for sharing that. Have you guys ever, I'm going to butcher the delivery on this, but it's something like you should never take criticism from somebody that you wouldn't go to for advice. Right? Or you should never like give too much weight to criticism from somebody who you would never go to for advice. Right? You got to rethink kind of, number one, who you're going through to for advice. And secondly, who has more power over your mind than they should, right? Guys, and we're not just talking about leaders of like real estate organizations. We're talking about you're a leader of yourself and what your daily habits are. You're a leader of your families, right? More than likely somebody, I mean, I'm not looking at everyone here, but more than likely somebody depends on you in some capacity, right? So you have some leadership responsibilities, whether it be financially or whatever it may be, right? So are you constantly learning how to be a better leader, right? And by the way, if you keep doing what we tell you to do, you know, making the calls, following up, keeping everything organized, making your presentations, all that kind of stuff, there will be a time very soon that you wake up and you say, I'm slammed. And I got to do a bunch of stuff today. And while I'm super excited to do it, I'm short on time because I got to research this, drop this off, research that, print that out, build this, go visit this, practice this, meet these 3 people, meet those 4 tomorrow. And you're going to say, oh my gosh, I might have a little thing going on here. It looks like the budding real estate business. And then you're going to raise your hand and say, hey, where's the model on how to grow? Who are the people that have grown before me? Right? And then you're really going to need some leadership skills because you're going to be asking somebody to spend a bunch of time with you. And you need to make sure that you can lead them and inspire them. Does that make sense? Okay, any final thoughts and then we'll move on. I think there was somebody that was trying to talk at the same time Greta was. Who was that?
It was me, but Greta said exactly where I was going.
Ah, very nice. Okay, anyone else want to share? Okay. Before, I just don't want to glaze over this. Mary made a really interesting point that I want to make sure you guys have some resources around, which is sign calls. And then we'll move into the meat of the day, okay? So remember that the way that once you start marketing a property, right? Once you're the name on the internet, you know, ad or the FMLS or your name's on the sign, these kind of things, you're going to get people that are going to inquire. right? So you got to kind of have two ideas in the back of your mind when you start fielding these inquiries. The first is you got to know who you represent, right? So while most of us are so excited to share everything we know about everything, we need to understand that there are some things, actually quite a bit of things, that if you were to share with a prospect could possibly work against you in a future negotiation, right? So just be aware of what you are saying and what you are not saying, okay? You also got to remember that whenever that phone rings, if it's not a real estate agent, it is a prospect, okay? And they are a prospect until it is determined that they are not a prospect. What I mean by that is they say hello, they're a prospect. If they say, hey, my name is Joe and I have a realtor, now they're not a prospect. You see what I'm saying? So they're a prospect until they tell you enough to prove that they're not a prospect. What I mean by that specifically is you want to give open-ended, you want to ask open-ended questions, and if possible, give open-ended answers. So if somebody were to say, how much is that property? And you say 400,000 and their budget's 300,000, they may hang up. And then you got nothing, right? So there's a line here that says, let me share my screen one more time. I posted this buyer script and intake sheet in the Google Drive or in the WhatsApp chat 2 seconds ago. And it says something to the effect of, oh, that's a great property. Everyone is calling in on that one. So you're looking to buy a home, right? Not you're looking to buy a home. That's an upswing, creates doubt, right? So you're looking to buy a home, right? Or yes, fantastic. While I looked that information up, tell me what price range do you feel comfortable in? So they say 350, and then you might say, oh, that property you called on is just a bit out of the price range. It's listed at 450, but I do have a couple of other properties nearby that could be your listings, or because you know the market and you study the market, particularly because you have a nearby listing, you of course know what's going on a little above that price range and a little bit below that price range, because first of all, that was part of your analysis on setting the price. And if there's new listings that are either much higher or much lower than your listing after it's already listed, you better be studying that too, so that you constantly make sure you've got a good sticker price on the piece of property you're trying to sell, right? So you could say, oh, well, I'm aware of a couple of nearby properties that are closer to your price range. Would you like me to share that information with you? Oh, yeah. Okay, well, I'll need your email, your cell phone, your wife's cell phone, your birth weight, your blood type, and names and numbers of all your friends. I mean, I'm just kidding, but ultimately that's the goal, is we're trying to get the contact information from these people, right? I quite frankly don't care one bit what property they want, right? You like my listing? Great. You don't like my listing? I can help you there too. You see what I'm saying? So be careful in the way you answer some of those questions. Some of those questions you could answer with oh, it's a 4-bedroom. Oh, I'm looking for a 5-bedroom. Have a nice day. You're like, whoa, 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 I can help you. And they're like, sorry. You see what I'm saying? Oh, what's important to you about a 4-bedroom home? Oh, well, I need we have a nanny that lives with us or whatever. And, they need a place to be. They need a place to sleep. Oh, well, you can just, once it's open-ended and you're having a conversation, you're building rapport. They're not going to get off the phone when they're in rapport with you. Make sense? Even if your product, your listing doesn't match exactly what they want. Okay, so take some time to kind of review some of these scripts, right? Using transitions, gaining control, qualifying, right? These are questions that you really should be able to internalize, because this is going to help you understand. Number one, it's going to help you build rapport. And secondly, it's going to help you understand how to serve this particular client. Because if in your real estate career, let's say you have 5,000 real estate transactions, you will deal with 5,000, well, probably between 5 and 10,000 different personalities. Okay, good. So you better get used to it, right? As I've said many times, I could teach you how to sell homes in like 5 minutes. The rest of it's all psychology. Make sense? Okay. I also want to bring your attention to another document, which is, let me pull this up really quickly. the Daily Success Tracker, okay? The 2021 Daily Success Tracker is a document that is in the Google Drive. If you give me 2 seconds, I will post it here as well. It is specifically created as a Word document so that you can edit it if need be. My only request, please, is pull it off of the Google Drive and save it as a Word document, and then edit that one, not edit the one that is, within the Google Drive. Now, if you look here, I added a quote for 2021, and it says, this is by John Maxwell, "Everything worthwhile is uphill, and no one accidentally goes uphill." Okay. So if you want something you've not ever had before, you most likely are going to have to do some activities you're not used to doing. Does it make sense? Plenty of people want stuff. A far fewer amount of people are willing to go do what it takes to get there. Do you know how many times, let me make sure you're focused on me for a second. Do you know how many times, and Mary, I'm going to talk about you for 2 seconds. Do you know how many times she was frustrated that she was doing stuff and it wasn't creating any action? How many times did you almost give up on that person?
I didn't want to give up. I just prayed every single day. I honestly, y'all, Bill knows my history. Greta does. I had 30 years of retail management. Every day I prayed, Lord, please don't make me go back to that. Please. And that was my drive, Bill, was not to go back to retail. I've got to be successful at this because I cannot go back to retail. Man, my last job, I managed 10 states. At 4 o'clock in the morning, my phone would start dinging as per complaints from customers. That is not a good way to wake up in the morning. So,
sometimes we make decisions or pretty much everyone makes decisions in one of 2 ways. They're either gravitating towards something or they're gravitating away from something, right? And it's really important that you kind of internalize how you believe you're making choices, because I was similar to Mary, right? I stopped waiting tables, not voluntarily, okay? And I said, I ain't gonna ever do that again. And I had waited a lot of tables, okay? And I was gonna do whatever I had to do to never ask somebody again what they wanted for dinner, ever, right? I was gonna steal my neighbor's internet. I was gonna live off of Arby's curly fries for 2.5 years. I was not going back, okay? Jeannie, I have lots of fun stories to share with you. Oh, you're gonna love them. You're gonna love this, okay? You guys, we gotta figure out what motivates us. Mary did not want to have that lifestyle anymore. And therefore, every day, she just went and did her job. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so let's go back to this success list. All right, again, you can design this however you want. My goal for this document was for it to basically be a one sheet of paper that could help you understand, in a way, how much real estate you did today, right? Like, did you behave like a real estate agent, or did you behave like somebody who has a bunch of stuff to do and real estate just happens to end up at the bottom of the list most of the time, right? So I wrote down a couple of things that I thought that everyone should be considering doing every single day. Did you open command, right? If you set up command properly, then you should be able to look at your goals on command. You should be able to look to see, am I being notified that I'm supposed to call or email or follow up with somebody, right? Are there any active files that need any maintenance, right? Am I opening command every single day? Am I reviewing my goals in my 411, right? Am I sitting down at my desk and I'm looking at my set of priorities and that's what I do, right? Or am I just kind of sitting here waiting for somebody else to need me, right? Are you living a very reactive world? Or are you coming into work and doing what you know moves the needle? Okay. Every day we should probably be doing something online to promote our business. Are we doing any form of social media activity? Am I reviewing my pipeline? What's my one thing and did I get it done? And did I complete my daily tracking? My one thing for today is, here's some blank marks where you can write down the people that you spoke to. How many contacts did I make? And you can have some form of a system that, you know, I don't know, let's say you spoke to somebody and you need to add them to the database. Okay, so you orange them or something, right? Or you have a correction, somebody has a new email address. Okay, maybe you put a star next to that. I don't know, just whatever system you need to create to make sure that when you put work away for the day, that all the tasks have been complete, okay? And then we encourage you to identify what are your results for the day, right? The same results that we track each week: contacts, database ads, pipeline ads, seller held, seller taken, buyer held, buyer taken, pendings and closings, right? And I've said this 100 times, but if you earned a 0, just put a 0, okay? Because if you earned a 5, you earned a 5. If you earned a 0, you earned a 0. You got it. That's your results. You are what it says you are, okay? So if you're behind, the numbers say you're behind, you're behind. If you're ahead, go have some fun, right? What did I learn today? What promises did I make? Hey, I'll send you this information. Hey, I'll introduce you to a painter. Hey, I'll call you in 6 months. What promises did you make every single day? And have you figured out how none of that's going to slip through the cracks? Because if Mary calls me or if I'm talking to Mary and Mary says, hey, you're my agent, but don't bother calling me until September because I'm not doing anything until then. If I don't figure out a way to make sure that call happens in September, I only have one job, which is to do what I promised that I was going to do, right? If I blow that, that could be a very expensive mistake. Is that fair to say? Okay, what went well today? You know, sometimes a lot of times, honestly, we're going to have tough days, right? A lot of times we're going to have phenomenal days, right? So what went well and what could I improve on? And the things that you can improve on are things that you should be talking about in the mastermind sessions each week. These are things that you should be putting onto the WhatsApp. You can call Candace and I to talk through it. Should be mentioning it in the group coaching sessions, right? So let's take a very, very intentional, purposeful approach to how we're spending our time. And I mean, carry this wherever you go, right? I know it's a little antiquated, but you know what? If you're behind, you're not logging on to command to prove that you're behind. Okay, it ain't gonna happen. I've learned enough about the brain to figure that out. Okay. What questions do we have?
I have an unrelated question.
Okay.
It's the I'm trying to keep track of all the things that I want to do, and we've got the PC calendar, we've got the you know, the Roswell calendar, and then last night I was chatting with you. You said there was another image. I can't find it because there was something interesting that I wanted to do that you had mentioned, and I saw it in the chat, and I don't know where it is. And I looked on the announcements images, and I can't find it.
All right, I'm gonna post it real fast now. So
okay, thank you.
There are 2. Remember, we added 2 classes per week to the offering package. Those are going to be on Wednesday and Thursday. They're both going to be held in Candace's room. One of which, you know, obviously starts today, and that we basically called it Master the Basics. Okay, I'm sending it to the announcements page right now. And we're going to kind of have like kind of an ongoing series, if you will. We are opening it to agents throughout the office, just so you know. And it was part of the what do you call it? The daily email yesterday. But Master the Basics. So today we're going to talk. Oh, you know what? Hang on. That was an older image that we were working on. Today is going to be Master Your Day from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And tomorrow it's basically going to shift. Everything's going to shift down. Master Your Business Plan will be 12:30 to 1:30 tomorrow. Okay. There, I clarified a mistake that I made in the calendar yesterday. So I think I had said that the listing presentation would be today and the buyer presentation would be tomorrow. That's actually going to be next week. But as you know, we have several videos about listing and buyer presentations in the Google Drive, right? Or I'm sorry, in the YouTube page right now. Make sense? I'm actually going to. I'm gonna.
Is that the PC YouTube page?
Yes, ma'am.
Or both the PC and the Georgia Legacy and the Roswell Rocks? I get lost in all the different pages and stuff. Sorry, I'm still struggling to figure that out.
That's okay. So the Roswell Rocks and the Georgia Legacy page are Facebook groups. So you just log onto Facebook and you could friend them or follow them, whatever it's called. And you know, those activities or whatever, or whatever's happening in those groups will appear in your feed. The YouTube page is what's exclusive for PC.
So the ones that the videos in the office would be on the Facebook pages, and the videos from PC are on a YouTube page. Is that how that works?
Basically, let me try to make it a little bit more palatable for you guys, and hopefully, I'm sure there's other people's these questions, so I appreciate you.
I'm sorry, I just can't get a mental map of where everything is housed so that I can find what I want.
Okay, this second picture is the correct Master the Basics schedule. Okay, that was attached to the weekly email. Okay. Now the YouTube page, the link is right here, also in the announcements page. And I would recommend that you bookmark that. That is where all of the videos that we record for PC are housed. That's a private YouTube page just for the Roswell PC people. Then we also have, remember, let me actually share my screen with you on this.
And you can also click the bell to get the notifications when new videos are posted.
Thank you, and subscribe. Okay, so if you go to, with a couple of exceptions, but the majority of the time that there is a office class, okay, you want to go to kwroswelltraining.com and you'll click the link here saying today's class, and you'll be entered into the Zoom room. If you look here, though, there's a bunch of training videos below. So like the cash flow clubs that have been recorded in the past, team meetings, chart masters, liftoff workshops, 90 Day to Greatness, lead generation, listing classes, buyer classes, 3612.3, last year's 3612.3, etc. And here is some downloads as well. Okay, so this is also, I know sometimes we just see it and we click the link and that's that. We also have a bunch of stuff down here too. Okay. Now this is of course all available for all agents in Roswell. And one of the benefits for being in this exclusive club is you get some extra stuff. Okay. So that's the idea behind both the Google Drive and the YouTube page.
And I just want to say, because I know the weekly productivity week at a glance is a lengthy email, but if you're patient and scroll through to the bottom, there are lots of links and resources that you just have to click on for any given thing, just like Bill just showed you for the Roswell office. So it's a great resource. Just scroll all the way to the bottom and see what's down there.
Yeah, so if you look at this, you can see what she's probably referring to is this stuff right here, right? Dave Jinks, Why List With Me. Dave Jinks is the co-author of a book. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. You guys heard of that? Right? You think he knows anything about listing homes? Okay. I got to tell you, you guys have shocked me a little bit. I accidentally posted something in the announcements page the other day, sending it to the wrong WhatsApp group, and not a single one of y'all said anything. So I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm shocked that no one said anything. All right. Anyone else want to chime in? Candace, no clues. Anyone have any thoughts, questions, complaints, feedback? Was today helpful?
It was helpful.
We need to do some like jumping jacks at the beginning of the day. You guys are like so tired sometimes.
Well, it's the time change,
All right.
we're
all
all,
right. How long?
Driving.
How long is that going to work, Corey? How long is that exchange going to work? Can we cut
I'm
it off?
trying to,
Like,
I'm
can I
I'm
give you
trying to
like
defend
until tomorrow? After tomorrow, no one can bitch about the time change. Okay, is that fair?
I'm just trying to defend everybody here on the call.
I know you are. I know you are. No complaints about time change after Thursday. Is that fair? You got one more day. Milk it as long as you can. Then it's time to get to work.
It's like Happy New Year when it's like three weeks into the year.
Right. Or like, oh, it's my birthday month or it's my birthday quarter. It's like, come on, get to work. All right, you guys, have a wonderful day.
You
Bye.
too.